धृततरवृद्धिसंवृत्तिगतेन शम्भवतात् भवताभिमतेन स्पृहयामस्ते हसितमुखाय.
Gopal Champu, Chapter 8, Binding Krishna. When the cowards seated themselves in the assembly on another day, in the early morning, Snigdhakanta spoke as follows. Once at the end of Kartik month, joyful Yashoda saw that Krishna was sleeping with his eyes, which were beautiful as blue lotuses, closed. Caressing him gently with her hand, as he lay on the bed, she let him sleep. Slowly leaving the bed and going outside the room, she quickly tied up her cloth to engage in household chores in the early morning and began churning yogurt. On that day, Rohini mounted a chariot with Balaram and went to the house of Upananda by a special invitation as if pulled by ropes of affection. The affectionate servants came to complete their work. They were busily engaged because of a great festival of Indra traditional in the family, respected by all people, which would be held at the beginning of the last month of the year, Magha Shirsha. While the servant women were arriving for their jobs, Yashoda was carefully engaged in churning the yogurt and singing while thinking that today her son was sleeping late. Absorbed in her son, she began singing about his pastimes while gazing at his face. Shukadev has said, one day when Mother Yashoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn the yogurt. While churning, she remembered the childish activities of Krishna, and in her own way she composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself about all those activities. She had a belt shining with jewels on her blue swaying cloth, and was decorated with attractive jingling bells. She churned the yogurt with her two hands repeatedly while looking at the face of her son, who was just beginning to open his eyes. Her song: O Tilak of the family of Nanda, you are living in Braj. Since the people here have done hundreds of pious acts, you have given them great happiness. Seeing your actions, the eyes become joyful. By the great festival arising from this bliss, you give bliss to all the cowherds, O King of Gokul, filled with the auspicious action of killing Putana. You engaged in auspicious acts after overturning the cart, which destroyed the steadiness of our hearts. The Supreme Lord has brought you back after he killed the whirlwind demon. You crawl about in the beautiful yard. Lotus-eyed child, you are the greatest piety. You show the greatest skill at dancing and playing. You appear most attractive when you hold on to the calves' tails. You show false greed in arguing for fun with the elders. O Krishna, always give happiness to me, your mother. Stay in this house always. Please reveal your playful antics and quickly grow. You showed the power of the Lord, causing astonishment and showing the universe within you. May your body remain without old age and death and become the cause of joy by worshiping the Lord. The ocean of beauty woke up and immediately began crying. Getting up, he went to his mother. He appeared to his mother and others as follows. Breathing heavily, bending his limbs, rubbing his eyes, he cried, "Mother, mother." Hearing the sound of churning, he walked on faltering feet to his mother. When Krishna stopped the movement of the churning rod with his soft words filled with affection, caused by his mother's caring attitude, Yashoda fed the infant milk. When the milk flowed from Yashoda like monsoon rains, Krishna was like the chataka bird drinking those showers. When Krishna had only half finished drinking, Yashoda, thinking that the milk on the next room may be boiling over, put Krishna down and went to the other room, thinking that she may drop him since she was moving very fast. Madhukanta said, "How could this happen? How could she be thinking of leaving her son, who was becoming thin from hunger, since she was the spotless example of love for her child?" Snigdhakanta spoke with a smile. "First hear this, since Yashoda was the perfection of motherly affection." Madhukanta said, "What is that?" Snigdhakanta said, "His parents thought, 'This is my son,' and from birth had possessiveness with complete disregard for their own bodies and houses. Brahma has said the following concerning all the people of Braj, what to speak of his parents. So what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you?" Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 14th Chapter, Text 35. Since the milk and yogurt were for Krishna, they were even more attractive than Krishna. This is the special nature of her love. This was her way of thinking. Enduring great difficulties, she was not aware of her household chores that should be done. She thought more of Krishna as her son than her body and house. Making Krishna the object of her compassion, she thought that her duty was to serve Krishna. Krishna also understood that her scolding and punishment were her show of affection. What more can be said of her affectionate caring for him? When the inhabitants of Braj became angry with him, it increased their love for him, just as sometimes the fire of lightning is seen in the thick cloud. The mother and son mutually benefit each other. When she went to take the milk off the fire, she spoke in joy. "I worship you with arati, but for a moment please protect the churning pot. After taking care of the milk, I will come as quickly as I can." While she quickly went from the churning place and then returned, the cloth covering her breast completely sprinkled the path with milk. But because his desire was obstructed, Krishna became very upset. His lips red with anger, and tears flowing from his eyes, he began to cry. He broke the pot with some stones, but did not touch a particle of the butter. Poets describe this. The white moons of his teeth became red like his lips, and his eyes, like chikora birds, became filled with tears. With his 2 lotus hands he destroyed the yogurt pot, showing his strength. The yogurt within remained intact. Krishna then created another festival. He carefully took the ghee from the hanging pot and began eating it. He then took the ghee pot away through a side door. Carefully he struck the door panel to loosen the bolt and then entered the storeroom, bolting the door after entering. Using a wooden bed to climb, he stole the ghee and then fled while no one was looking. Yashoda, seeing the milk had thickened on the stove, took the pot off and quickly returned to her son. Knowing the type of actions of her son, she felt both anger and joy, and then smiled. Though she was worried at first, a message from the sky caused her to smile. The voice from the sky said, "The baby bee, being very thirsty, has not been fully satisfied with honey, and has thus broken the lotus bud. On breaking the lotus and seeing only the contents flow out, without honey, the bee has gone to another lotus and obtained honey. Moreover, you have shown skill in taking the milk off the fire, but you will be praised more for your ability to pacify the anger of your son." Hearing this, she smiled. Seeing his footprints of buttermilk, which indicated the path of his theft, by her own means she was able to unbolt the door and then acted as follows. When Yashoda left the room and saw that her son had made mischief, she followed him and then saw him as he was looking around with fearful eyes. He was moving his eyes about. "I have stolen the ghee, and my mother will see me. How will I meet her gaze?" Fearing her, he moved his eyes from ear to ear. He overturned a mortar and sat on it while feeding monkeys as his eyes moved here and there. Seeing him do this, Yashoda smiled slightly and became filled with astonishment. She silently approached in order to catch her thieving son, but seeing her he began to flee. It is well known that a thief has 100 eyes, whereas the owner of wealth has only 2 eyes. The proud monkeys became full from eating the butter. Yashoda took a stick and, covering it with cloth, approached. Seeing her, he quickly climbed a tree. She ran after her fleeing son, but the flowers fell from her bound hair. "King of thieves, where are you going?" His beauty increased by his indistinct smiling and crying. She pursued him to catch him, but she could not catch him, just as a group of clouds going west by the wind cannot catch a small cloud going to the east. He ran where he thought his mother could not follow him. Thinking no one else was around, she followed him. When he ran without looking back, she could not catch him. When he looked back in fear, she was able to catch him with her hand. He used his eyes to try to find some way of escaping, and began weeping to remove his mother's anger. He made his body falsely tremble out of boldness, but he could not wipe out his bad behavior. When she came face to face with him, he tried to cover his ghee-soaked limbs by smearing himself with dust. Seeing this, Yashoda said, "If you want to steal in this house, then look at this stick in my hand." When her lotus-eyed son was overcome with fear on hearing this, she threw down her stick. "Mother, do not beat me." With a hidden smile, she said, "But you are a thief." In this way, a quarrel began. "Ah, you are the king of thieves. Your father's lineage is all thieves." In this way, the mother argued with the infant who had stolen the ghee. How did the yogurt pot break? It was the Supreme Lord's stick. Who gave ghee to the monkeys? He who created monkeys gave it to them. I think that you always taste and eat the fresh ghee meant for sacrifices. After Yashoda scolded the infant as a thief, her heart softened. Smiling, but with anger, she said, "You should tell your secret and give up your pride." When his mother said this, her son began weeping. When you ran quickly, the pot broke because of being struck by your anklets. What is my fault in this?" Inspired by the Lord, the monkeys entered the house to steal. When they pulled at the key, I caught it. What is my fault? Seeing you holding a stick, I ran away like a thief. Seeing that I was frightened, you tried to mercilessly beat me without justice. Yashoda spoke with repentance. O best of thieves with clever words! Though you are the son of the king of Braj, you are fond of monkeys and have the nature of a monkey. Fearful and to give fear to his mother, he said, "If I am a monkey, then I will go to the forest and stay there." His mother began to worry with fear. Who can understand him? A proud child will do this. I must tie him up to prevent this, since I am alone and I cannot continue to pay attention to both the house and this child. But she spoke aloud. O thief who bewilders everyone with your restless eyes, do not think of avoiding me. After binding you up, I will go to the house quickly. If you show your strength, then steal something else. When she began tying him up, he became so angry that he breathed with a hissing sound. He said, "Rohini, where have you gone with Balaram? Because you are not here, she is binding me up. Please come quickly." Because Rohini was far away, she could not hear, but other women who were neighbors, who had previously scolded him, heard his cries and came. They laughed and said, "Has he done anything at your house?" So that she would remember her own previous words. Ignoring their words, she took an old string from her hair and began binding him around the waist to the mortar near the outer door, just as Rudra's followers bound up Daksha to teach him a lesson. But the string was 2 fingers too short. She took another silk string from her hair and tied the two together, but still the string was 2 fingers short. Even when the other women gave up the churning rope, she could not tie him up. Just as a cloud touching a far mountain appears not to touch it, so the rope around his waist appeared to be 2 fingers too short. The other women laughed and said, "Oh, Yashoda, we told you previously that he makes the original thief Kalpalaka tremble by his great power of bewilderment. He shows himself to be a thief, taking joy in eating stolen goods." She said, "He was born at the wrong time, thus he does not know good from bad. But I think you have been put under a spell, since internally you are prejudiced against him, but externally you show yourselves differently." Laughing, they said, "Falling at your feet, we swear that we are not under some amazing spell." She then began to think, according to Garga's words, the Lord's powers are covering this boy, and he does not know what is happening. She repeatedly brought churning ropes from the women's houses to see the limits of astonishment and tried to bind him up, but found no way to do so. Attempting to bind her son, she found no end in this endless task. Perspiration flowed over her limbs and her hair became loose. As much as Krishna made efforts to show his stubbornness, Yashoda's attempts became useless, as if under the influence of bad planets. It is understood that when his mind became moved by her fatigue, he became bound up by the first 2 ropes alone. All the other ropes became unnecessary. A performer of actions, Yogamaya, acting according to his desires, created this incident for his mother, which appeared like some illusion. Yogamaya performed such acts daily. Having tied up Krishna, she lengthened the rope with the other ropes and tied him to the mortar. Having tied him up and showing harshness to him to teach him, his mother went to do her household chores with the other women who were laughing. She placed other boys around him to protect him. When the women left, he pretended to cry for a while. Then he became joyful at the prospect of moving the mortar to many places. Though he was tied up, with great faith, increased by being surrounded by the boys, he played with them while smiling, moved the mortar bit by bit, while they also laughed. He then had them go to the empty houses of the women and steal the butter hanging in pots. But he did not desire to free himself from the mortar using his hands or any instrument, in order to give joy by pulling the mortar. Then he saw the 2 Yamala Arjuna trees situated near the town gate, whose leaves were dancing in the wind. Gradually he made his way towards those trees. Snigdhakanta, in freely describing this incident of breaking the two trees, wanted to show not the Lord's power, but something else. Then, desiring to go to another place, he went along the path between the two trees, but the path was narrow between the trees and sloped down. The mortar became stuck between the trees. Desiring to pull down the two trees, he started pulling hard. A terrible sound arose from the trees, and he pulled the two trees down. All the inhabitants of Braj, other than the deaf, could not maintain their composure on hearing that sound. What was most astonishing, however, was that Krishna had broken the two trees, which were as hard as thunderbolts, but he could not break the bondage of affection he had with his mother. Poets praise this. I praise the child cared for by the women of Braj. He has a dark complexion, and his ankle bells jingle. He gives joy when he crawls. He produced a rough sound as he pulled the mortar over the earth. His eyes became restless as the curious, thunderous sound of the falling Arjun trees. Hearing the fearful sound of the falling trees, the inhabitants remained in a fainting condition for a muhurta. Only the boys around Krishna did not faint. Experiencing the height of sweetness of his pastimes, they did not become frightened and remained immobile like painted pictures. Hearing that sound from far off, the villagers speculated on its origin and went towards the place. Arriving all at the same time and full of anxiety, they conversed with each other. How have those trees fallen without wind, without rain, without thunderbolts, without an attack by elephants? How is it possible for someone to uproot the trees when there is no one here? For that reason, everyone fainted on hearing that loud sound. They noticed that Krishna was near the trees and that he was smiling. Pulling the mortar, he was experiencing bliss in his actions. They surrounded him, saying, "How did this happen?" Seeing his father coming from behind, Krishna began crying. His frightened father smiled in order to comfort the child and then untied him. Kissing the child's face, he repeatedly asked what happened, though he knew the cause of his being tied up. "Where is the rascal who has tied you to the mortar?" Attached to his father, he approached him after some time and whispered in his ear, "Oh, father, mother did this." Yashoda, after recovering from fainting and repenting what she had done, told Nanda everything. Thus he already knew. But he did not want to say anything suddenly to Krishna while alone with him. Not with disrespect, but out of ignorance of the details, he asked the other boys, "How did this happen?" The boys spoke. Krishna went between the two trees in order to go to a wider space for playing, and pulled the immovable mortar by its base in a crooked manner. He produced a cracking sound in the trees and then suddenly made them fall to the earth. Then two people like fire, decorated with bracelets, crowns, and earrings, emerged from the broken trees and offered respects in all directions. They praised Krishna. The two then departed for the north. Hearing this, all the people with parental feelings, including Nanda, dismissed it as children's talk. Others, however, could not remove the doubt in their hearts. Gradually, one by one, others came and joined Nanda. Holding Krishna on his chest, he went to the Yamuna river to perform his daily rites. Taking a bath with his son, he had Brahmanas chant auspicious prayers, and after dismissing them with great gifts, returned to his house to take his morning meal. Being unhappy because of separation from Krishna, and ashamed of having tied him up, Yashoda did not come out of the house and did not talk to other women in the house. When the other women left, Rohini, who solves all problems, surrounded her along with the respectable kitchen assistants. Nanda brought Krishna and Balaram and ate his meal with them while engaging in affectionate, soft talk. He relaxed with the two who were supreme bliss incarnate for the two muhurtas. His heart was satisfied as if lying on a soft bed. He went to the cow shed at the time the cows came and supervised their milking. Bringing white sugar from the house, he had the two boys, along with his friends, drink the most beneficial milk fresh from the cows as a substitute for breast milk. He taught them how to write some letters. Entering the house, he met with others to have his evening meal. Desiring unbroken happiness for his son, the head women, including Rohini, the jewels of their families, came and made a request. "O king, Yashoda has not eaten all day and she does not speak to anyone." Seeing that, all have also followed her example. Nanda spoke with sadness and a smile. "What can we do? After showing anger, one should regret one's fault." They said with tears in their eyes, "Ah, she is very soft internally and externally. She will be devastated by your words." Slightly smiling, Nanda then asked his son, "Will you go to your mother?" Krishna said, "No, no, I will spend my time with you." Then the wives of Nanda's elder brothers said, "Whose milk will you drink?" Krishna said, "I will drink fresh milk from the cows mixed with sugar." They all said, "Who will you play with?" Krishna said, "I will play with my father. I will bring my brother also." Nanda said, "Will you not go to your brother's mother?" Angrily Krishna said with tears in his eyes, "She left me and went away." Hearing this, Rohini with tears in her eyes said softly, "O son, why are you so harsh? Your mother is suffering." Not listening to her words, Krishna with tearful eyes glanced at his father's face. To attract Krishna, Rohini gave a signal to Balaram. Balaram went to Krishna and held his hand. Krishna rejected his hand and went to the lap of his father and held his arms around his neck, looking at Nanda's tear-filled eyes and bringing Nanda under his control. Seeing Krishna's internal affection for his mother, Nanda raised his hand as if to beat Yashoda in order to reveal Krishna's affection for her. "O son, if you agree, I will beat her." Krishna could not tolerate this and blocked Nanda's hand. Smiling again, Nanda, showing great compassion because of his parental affection, and understanding the heart of Krishna's mother, said, "O son, if your mother is in this condition, what will you do?" He spoke while smiling, indicating that she would die. Because of his childish nature, Krishna immediately became anxious for his mother. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Where is mother? I must go there." In anxiety, he went to Rohini's lap. While all were noisily laughing, Rohini, who bestows the greatest happiness, took him and entered the house. He hugged his mother's neck while crying in joy. She kissed the child's head and made sounds like a cow. With melted heart she sobbed, making all others there sob. Yashoda pacified the women with comforting words, and a slight glow appeared on her face. She appeared healthy with a beautiful face and satisfied her child with breast milk. With the other helpful women, she fed him and Balaram. For 3 days after the incident, being reserved, Yashoda did not show herself to Nanda. But on another day, Krishna, on the order of his father, brought her to him, holding the edge of her cloth. From the day that he was bound, the women of Braj called the beautiful dark child Damodara in a joking way. What poet amongst all the people in this world can describe Yashoda, whom Shukadeva Goswami has said is much superior to Brahma, Shiva, and Lakshmi? The drum roll of her fame, announced by Shukadeva, wanders throughout the 3 worlds with great renown. Neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva, nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 9th Chapter, Text 20. Balaram said to Krishna with anticipation, "O brother, do you remember that you said we could live in the big forest?" Krishna said with a smile, "Oh yes, we will go and play there." Finishing the story, Snigdakanta said, "O king of the cowherds, a son has been born to you who transformed the trees into celestial devotees." All the assembled people, realizing their joy from these narrations, then returned to their homes. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana. Krishna's pastimes of stealing butter. Krishna's pastimes of crawling about and drinking his mother's breast milk gradually stopped. Soon, he walked on his lotus feet and started stealing butter. Is there anyone who did not feel unlimited bliss when the Lord, who is the very source of bliss, enacted his childhood pastimes? One day, when no one was looking, Krishna began his pastimes of stealing fresh butter. Startled upon seeing his own reflection in a jeweled, inlaid pillar, he shivered in fear and said, "Oh, dear brother, do not tell mother. I will save some butter for you, and you may enjoy too." Watching her mischievous son from a hidden place, Mother Yashoda heard these sweet broken words with great relish. Then she innocently appeared before Krishna and Rama. Pointing to his effulgent reflection, Krishna said, "Oh, Ma, being very greedy, this boy came here today to steal your butter. Although I forbade him, he did not listen to me, and when I got angry with him, he also got angry. But I am not at all greedy for butter." One day, while Yashoda was outside the house engaged in some domestic activities inside the house, Krishna stole butter again. When Yashoda returned and called out, "Oh, my darling Krishna, where are you and what are you doing?" Hearing her, Krishna became afraid and stopped stealing butter. Pausing for a moment, he answered, "Mother, my hands started burning from the shining effulgence of my ruby bangles, so I stuck it in this butter pot to relieve the pain." Pleased by her son's clever words, Yashoda said, "Hey, Vatsa, please come sit on my lap. Oh, my darling, show me the burns on your hand." Then Yashoda kissed Krishna's hand and consoled him, saying, "Look, your hand has been burned, so let me remove these ruby bangles." On another day, Krishna cried and rubbed his eyes with his flower bud-like palms. In a choked voice, he uttered unintelligible phrases. Even though Yashoda had previously scolded Krishna for stealing butter, this time she wiped the tears from his eyes with the edge of her sari. While tenderly caressing Krishna, she said, "Hey, Lala, all of our stock of butter actually belongs to you alone." One night, the soothing rays of the full moon illumined the courtyard of Nanda's house. Yashoda sat there talking with some elderly gopis while Krishna played nearby gazing at the moon. Sneaking up behind Yashoda, Krishna removed the veil covering her head, loosened her braid, and patted her on the back to get attention with his butter-soft lotus palms. His voice choked up as he continually cried. Yashoda's heart swelled with maternal love, so she indicated with a glance that her friend should attend to Krishna. With great respect and affection, the gopis enthusiastically lifted up Krishna and asked, "Oh, darling, what do you want? Do you want some kheer?" Krishna replied, "No, no." "Do you want some thick, creamy yogurt?" Krishna replied, "No, no." "Do you want some cheese?" Again Krishna said, "No, no. I want freshly churned condensed butter." The gopis continued, "Do not lament or be angry with your mother. What do you mean by condensed butter?" Pointing his little index finger to the full moon, Krishna replied, "I want that freshly churned condensed butter." The elderly gopis said, "Oh, Vatsa, do not mistake the moon for a huge piece of butter. It is a Rajahamsa, royal swan, gliding across the lake." Krishna said, "Then give me that Rajahamsa so I can play with him. Quickly catch him before he reaches the bank of the lake." Full of anxiety, Krishna kicked his legs and cried loudly, "Gimme, gimme!" While Krishna showed his childish antics, some other gopis said, "Oh, darling, they've lied to you. What you see is not a Rajahamsa, but it is the moon hanging in the sky, and it is called Chandra." Krishna said, "Then give me that Chandra. I really want it so I can play with it. Right now, get it." Yashoda placed her crying son on her lap and comforted him. Actually, it is fresh churned butter. Definitely it is not Rajahamsa, nor is it the moon. Regardless, I can never give it to you. Just see, by chance or by the arrangement of Providence, it has a poisonous spot on it. Although it looks very tasty, no one in this world can eat it. Then Krishna said, Mother, Mother, why is it stained with spots of poison? What is poison anyway? Seeing a change in Krishna's mood, Mother Yashoda embraced him and spoke in a gentle, sweet voice. Listen attentively, my dear son. There is an ocean of milk called Ksira Sagara. Krishna said, Mother, please tell me about that. How many milk cows made that ocean? Yashoda said, Darling, the milk ocean was not made by cows. Krishna said, Mother, you are lying to me. How can there be milk without cows? Yashoda, the one who gave cows the ability to produce milk can also make milk even without cows. And Krishna said, Who is he? Yashoda said, He is the Lord, the cause of creation. He is Bhagawan. He is immovable and all-pervading. Although he is everywhere, I cannot show him to you. Krishna said, Well, Mother, are you telling me the truth? Yashoda said, Long ago the demigods and demons had a fight. To favor the demigods and bewilder the demons, the Lord churned the ocean of milk. Mandara mountain served as the churning rod, and Vasuki, the king of the serpents, offered his body for the rope. The demons and demigods stood on opposite sides pulling that rope. Krishna said, Mother, did they churn the way the gopis do? Yashoda said, Yes, my son. The churning of the Ksira Sagara produced a poison named Kalakuta. Krishna said, Mother, how did churning milk produce poison? Only snakes have poison. Yashoda said, Darling, Mahadev drank that poison, but the snakes drank the drops of poison that fell from his mouth. As a result, they now have poison. The poison rising from that milk is also the energy of the Lord. Krishna said, Yes, Mother, that is indeed true. Yashoda said, Darling, this condensed butter you are seeing in the sky is produced from that Ksira Sagara. That is why the moon is spotted with the remnants of that poison. Look carefully, do you see it? Therefore, do not try to eat that butter, but please take my freshly churned butter instead. After hearing this description, Krishna felt sleepy, so Mother Yashoda put him to rest on an opulent golden bed on a fluffy soft mattress whiter than powdered camphor. The next morning, Yashoda brought butter, yogurt, and other eatables to Krishna's room. Lovingly fondling his body, she said, Wake up. My God, you seem to be weak from not eating sufficiently yesterday. After Krishna awoke, Yashoda cleansed his mouth with scented water. Then she offered him a golden plate full of butter, yogurt, and other delights while saying, Oh, my beloved son, please take whatever you like. Krishna replied, Mother, I will not eat anything you have brought me. Last night you lied to me and put me to sleep, and I felt very distressed due to hunger. Yashoda said, Krishna, if you went to sleep, then who stole the butter? Krishna replied, Mother, when did I steal your butter? You are lying. With his charming transcendental pastimes, Krishna continually captivated the heart of Mother Yashoda. Sometimes, while roaming in the courtyard, Krishna caught a stray calf, put it on his lap, and kissed it with his lotus mouth. Seeing this, Yashoda felt both pleased and apprehensive. In the pasturing ground, Krishna sometimes grabbed the tail of a calf. Startled, the calf would jump up and run away, dragging Krishna dressed only by the wind behind him. Thus the uncovered Brahman, personified, stole the hearts of the Brajabasis. Sometimes Krishna smeared cow dung all over himself. Seeing it as musk covering his body, the Brajabasis enjoyed a festival of beauty. How can there be any inebriety in the one who is beauty personified? At other times, Yashoda tied a very attractive turban on Krishna's head and dressed him in gorgeous yellow garments. After marking his body with tilak, the color of Gorochon, she would anoint his lotus eyes with soft kajal. Adopting the mood of an ordinary mother, Yashoda placed her saliva on Krishna's forehead to prevent people from casting an evil eye on her son, whose sublime elegance enchants the entire creation. While playing in the courtyards of the gopis, Krishna often wore a necklace of tiger nails set in gold and a waist belt bedecked with costly jewels. Once, the Braja gopis talked amongst themselves. Krishna brings good fortune wherever he goes, and his presence makes everyone's life glorious. Who in this world is not enchanted by the frivolous and amusing childhood pastimes of Krishna? Who could not appreciate these mirthful activities? Rather than getting upset, they felt the greatest happiness whenever Krishna broke their clay pots and stole their butter. Still, the housewives of Vrindavan pretended to be angry and complained to Yashoda about Krishna's stealing. In a mixed mood of love and laughter, the gopis warned Yashoda, "O Queen of Vrindavan, Yashoda, in the future you will suffer for the mischievous acts of your son. Although now your son is like a young sprout with tender leaves, already he is disrupting the whole creation. But be careful, in the future, when this tender sprout grows into a tree full of leaves and branches, he will bring you tremendous pain. Now your boy's adventures are just beginning, but by nature they are forever expanding. Your son's naughty behavior will soon destroy our own village. We have no idea what mischief he will do next. Before our cows have been milked, your son unties the calves and makes them drink all the milk. If someone tries to rebuke him, he simply smiles sweetly, and that person immediately forgets all his anger. If we keep our butter in a dark storeroom, he uses his natural effulgence to easily find and steal it. But instead of eating it himself, he takes great pleasure in feeding it to the monkeys. When the monkeys reach their fill and are unable to eat any more, Krishna breaks the pot and throws the butter on the ground. He catches the butter pots which are beyond his reach by stacking many small tables on top of each other, climbing them and extending his arm to grab the pots. Krishna is always stealing our butter and yogurt. If someone tries to stop him, he immediately drops the food on the ground and quickly escapes. If by chance a housewife captures him, Krishna twists her wrists and runs away. Then from a safe distance he yells back, "Hey, just stay where you are. If you come any closer, I will give you even more trouble by teasing your babies and making them cry." If someone calls, "Hey, thief, stop!" Krishna becomes angry and shouts, "You are the thief. This house is mine, and everything in this house belongs to me." In the morning, we spread a fresh layer of clay on the outer walls of our houses and paint beautiful designs on top of it with powdered limestone. Then your son Krishna comes along to spoil everything by throwing dirt all over our houses. In front of you, Krishna is so quiet and well-behaved, but when he enters our homes, he acts frivolously, steals our food, speaks sharp words, and becomes angry and greedy. In this way, the ladies of Vrindavan, pretending to be angry, made many complaints against Krishna, but in reality Krishna's joyous pranks filled everyone with pleasure. When accused by the gopis, Krishna feigned innocence and shed false tears. Though culpable for his immoral acts of stealing and offending the villagers in various ways, Krishna tried to minimize his misdeeds by speaking very sweetly. Responding to the charges of the gopis, Krishna said, "Mother, none of these ladies have any affection in their hearts. They are not speaking a single word of truth. Actually, they are all liars, and they have given up their human dignity. Whenever I see them or their sons, I feel completely happy because of the natural affection I have for them. I regularly visit their homes every morning at sunrise. So, Ma, knowing my motives, you can easily understand they are deliberately telling lies. You should not believe them at all. Mother, since you are my worshipable superior, from now on I will not visit my friends any more." Saying this, Krishna sobbed and cried. Brajeshwari Yashoda put Krishna on her lap and smiled shyly at the gopis in order to conceal her real mood. Then, just to please Krishna, Yashoda said, "You gopis are all telling lies. Only Krishna is telling the truth. He is just an innocent boy, so how could he possibly do such things? I think you have already scolded my son sufficiently." After saying this, Yashoda spoke affectionately with the gopis. Then, as a friendly gesture, Rohini applied tilak to their foreheads and sent them home. After the departure of the gopis, Yashoda, who was expert in the laws of etiquette, spoke to Krishna. "My son, because of greed, you performed many improper acts in the homes of our friends. Although in your own home such behavior is acceptable, in the home of another it is totally unbecoming. O beautiful one, these deeds of yours were not good at all. From now on, just stay here and play." After instructing her son, Yashoda caressed him lovingly. Just then, Prajaraj Nanda arrived and brightened the room with his favorable feelings. Nanda spoke pleasing words to encourage and pacify his charming son. "O Vatsa, come sit on my lap." Leaving Yashoda's lap, Krishna climbed up on Nanda's lap and wrapped his arms around his father's neck. Then Krishna said softly, "Why is mother chastising me for nothing?" Nanda responded, "What is this all about?" That fabulous boy of oceanic intelligence replied, "Mother, now tell truthfully what happened." Then Mother Yashoda recounted the misdeeds of Krishna by repeating the words uttered by the gopis. Pointing to Queen Yashoda, Brajaraj Nanda said, "My son is faultless. He has not done anything wrong. I always see him behaving nicely. By siding with those who make fun of him and with those who show envy toward my jewel-like son, you have wrongly accused my well-behaved son, and so you should be punished." Concealing his real mood behind these words, Nanda rebuked Yashoda and comforted his son. "Oh, my darling son, just stay in my lap and do not go to anyone else." Though hearing his father's words, Krishna immediately jumped off his lap, just like an unpredictable child, and quickly climbed on Yashoda's lap. Seeing this, gave both parents a hearty laugh.
Vishwaram Sachidanandurupam Lasatkundanam Gokule Vrajamanam Yashodaviyolukanadavamanam Paramrishtamadhyanta Dorujagopya.
Chapter 6. Binding Sri Krishna. Deliverance of the Yamal Arjuna trees. The following episode occurred one day during Krishna's transcendental pastimes in Gokula. Though any number of maidservants could have done this chore, Yashoda tactfully engaged them elsewhere in order to show her expertise in preparing butter. With her own hands, which appeared as soft and elegant as lotus flowers, Yashoda personally churned butter for her beloved boy. The beauty of her delicate arms put lotus stems to shame. As she rhythmically pulled the ropes back and forth, the jingling of her emerald-studded bangles resounded like the bells on the feet of a dancer. As Yashoda's hair loosened and became wet from the exertion of churning, it looked like the open tail feathers of a jubilant peacock. When her hair braid untied, the jewels, flowers, and peacock feathers decorating it fell on the ground. As shooting stars beautify the dense darkness of night, similarly these falling items increased the beauty of the earth. The necklace on her raised breast swung back and forth with the movements of her blouse. The shining effulgence emanating from her jeweled earrings appeared like a constant flow of nectar. Bathed in the sweet mellow of maternal affection, Yashoda's neck and shoulders looked exceedingly beautiful. The ornamental belt surrounding her highly raised hips appeared captivating. The radiant gems and tinkling bells on that belt further increased its elegance. Drenched in a river of devotional perspiration, Yashoda's delicate body looked delightful. The sweetness of this scene defeated the beauty of seeing a swarm of intoxicated bees buzzing over a blooming lotus flower. A loud sound, resembling the roaring of the ocean, rose out of the wide mouth of Yashoda's butter pot. The drops of yogurt spilling out of the pot and falling on the golden border of Yashoda's sari made it look even more attractive. As Yashoda passed the time remembering Krishna, she recalled the enchanting look in her son's eyes whenever he got caught stealing butter. At that time, he would proudly say, "Mother, you should know that I am expert in this art of stealing." Krishna felt hungry and anxious to drink Yashoda's breast milk. In a threatening voice, Krishna said, "Either you stop to feed me, or I will break the churning pot." Suddenly, the one who churns the hearts of everyone in creation forcefully caught the churning rod. Yashoda stopped. She sat Krishna on her lap and happily fed him. While gazing at his loosely hanging curly dark blue hair, Yashoda's heart swelled with appreciation of Krishna's wonderful, gentle nature. Just at that time in the kitchen, some boiling milk foamed up in a pot. Fearing that it might spill over, Yashoda left her son and ran to the kitchen. This deeply pierced the core of Krishna's heart. Becoming angry, he picked up a rock and broke the butter pot. Churned butter flowed in all directions across the floor. In a fearful yet playful mood, Krishna ran through the butter and romped from room to room, engaging in more mischief. Stealthily entering the milk storeroom, Krishna quickly ate small amounts of freshly churned butter from various pots. From relishing his favorite food, he soon felt satisfied and gave up his anger. Then Srihari, who was worshipped by all the demigods, snatched a pot of butter and ran into the courtyard. The pastimes of Krishna enjoyed at this time appeared to be classic performances on a dramatic stage. While standing on a grinding mortar in the courtyard and anxiously looking around for Mother Yashoda, Krishna fed fresh butter to all the assembled children and monkeys. The fortunate Yashoda, whose jewel-like son benedicts the entire creation, took the boiling milk off the stove and returned to Krishna. The fame of attaining Krishna as her son enhanced the brilliant beauty of Yashoda's body. She wanted to embrace her son and console him, but not finding him there, she became morose. In a mood of lamentation, she frantically searched everywhere for Krishna. She found some broken pots emitting innumerable streams of yogurt that flowed across the floor, making it slippery and white in color. Out of anger, Krishna had smashed many clay pots, which now lay strewn on the floor in hundreds of pieces. Mother Yashoda thought, "Alas, what has happened? Why is this yogurt pot broken?" At first she could not understand, but upon seeing a small rock, she concluded that Krishna had perpetrated this naughty act. With a look of surprise, Mother Yashoda touched the tip of her nose with the index finger of her beautiful left hand and thought, "How could my child show such impudence? I tried so patiently to train him properly, so how could he behave so horribly?" Although no impurities resided in her heart, Yashoda appeared to manifest a special form of motherly pride. Showing false anger, she thought, "The glories of my son's transcendental pastimes are unlimited. His every action increases his own pride and pleasure while simultaneously creating a festival for one and all. He derives boundless happiness by his constant pastimes of stealing." As soon as Krishna, who enchants the demigods with his beautiful body the color of a monsoon cloud, saw Mother Yashoda coming out of the house, he jumped up in fear and ran away as fast as possible. Expertly understanding the human-like nature of her son, Yashoda chased after him, calling, "Stop running! Stop! Oh, you foremost cheater in the world!" Krishna kept looking fearfully back over his shoulder while running away from Yashoda. Though Yashoda felt fatigued and mentally distressed, her body, arms, and legs looked very beautiful as she pursued her mischievous son. Full of pride and anger, Yashoda continued shouting to Krishna, "Stop, you thief and liar! How can you carry on like this? Where are you going? Just stop running and stand where you are." Krishna said, "I will stop if you drop your stick." After saying this, Krishna stopped running away, but kept a safe distance from his mother. Yashoda said, "If you are so afraid of being punished, then why did you break my yogurt pot today?" Krishna said, "I will never do it again. Now just drop the stick from your hand." Yashoda's mind turned into an abode of amazement as she tried to approach her son. But seeing her angry mood, Krishna quickly ran away again while speaking in a distressed tone. "Mother, please drop that big stick and do not punish me. O sinless one, if you do this, I will come to you." After hearing Krishna's innocent appeal, Yashoda dropped the stick. Seeing this, Krishna stopped running. Absorbed in watching Krishna's transcendental pastimes, the immortal denizens of heaven felt totally amazed. One can easily understand how powerful demigods like Lord Brahma, who lives for trillions of years, became upset and bewildered upon seeing Krishna's pastime of showing fear before his mother. They could not fathom how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is feared by fear personified, ran away in fear of a stick in his mother's hand. The fine hairs curling over Yashoda's face dripped with perspiration, and her blouse moved from her heavy breathing. Her hair hung loose from running, and her lotus face appeared exhausted. When she caught Krishna's hand, he said, "Mother, please do not beat me." While saying this, Krishna rubbed his tear-filled lotus eyes with its delicate palms, which resembled the petals of a fresh lotus flower. With a choked voice, Krishna slowly uttered some sweet yet indistinct words that came out from his beautiful mouth, like drops of nectar falling from the full moon. Indeed, it was a marvelous sight to see Krishna becoming overwhelmed in fear and crying helplessly. Yashoda thought, "If I do not bind him immediately, he may run away into the deep forest." Yashoda then brought a grinding mortar and considered how to bind the one of boundless glories. Observing this, Krishna beamed an attractive smile. Yashoda ordered some maidservants, "O Korangavati and Lavangatavati, fetch some smooth, soft rope made of jute." The attempt of Brajeshwari Yashoda to bind Krishna, the ever-well-wisher of the whole creation, immersed her in an ocean of joy. Soon, many opulently dressed elderly gopis, the embodiments of limitless motherly affection, came there along with several curious boys with clean, beautiful, curly hair. Mother Yashoda tied many ropes together, but they always measured 2 inches too short. Surprisingly, no matter how many ropes she collected, they remained 2 inches too short. She said, "Alas, this small distance seems to have become as vast as Brahma's universe. The Supreme Lord enacts this pastime by his personal energy to display his unlimited power." Observing this wonderful incident, the elderly gopis tried to relieve Yashoda's anxiety by saying, "O Yashoda, you are the most blessed one in creation. A minute ago you tied a small golden belt around Krishna's thin waist, but now you cannot bind him with all the ropes in your house. Despite the number of ropes you tie together, they always end up 2 inches too short. There is some strange cause behind this phenomena, so you better stop trying to bind your son." In great astonishment, Yashoda addressed the gopis, "O Braja gopis, I have no more ropes, so please bring all the ropes stored in your houses." It was not out of fear that the gopis gave all their ropes to Yashoda, but they did so in order to see Krishna's glorious transcendental character and relish his blissful pastimes. Feigning anger, Yashoda took all the additional ropes and tried again to bind her naughty son. While enjoying the scene, the The doe-eyed housewives of Vrindavan laugh quietly while secretly tasting a special joy in their hearts. All the blissful moods of spiritual love harmonized in Krishna's childhood pastimes. Though Krishna's hands were very delicate, his eyes soon pained from continually rubbing the tears falling from them. In a choked-up voice, he spoke some richly sweet words that captivated the minds of all. Finally, Krishna cried in a gentle, honey-sweet voice. Empathizing with Krishna, close friends like Subal also wept with their bosom friend. Yashoda's heart palpitated with her heavy breathing. Her hair loosened, and the flowers fell to the ground. Perspiring, tired, overwhelmed, her labors frustrated, Yashoda sat down to rest and figure out how to tie up Krishna. A short time later, she tried again to bind her matchless son. The elderly gopis, having lost all desire to return to their homes, stood motionless while staring at Krishna with unblinking eyes. Now all the ropes in Vrindavan joined in a fruitless attempt to bind the master of the universe. It is impossible to tie up bliss, wisdom, power, and consciousness, so how can anyone tie up Krishna, who is made of nothing but bliss, wisdom, power, and consciousness? How could Yashoda bind one who has no inside or outside, who is limitless, who has no beginning or end, who has infinite power, who is the totality of everything, who is completely full and beyond any contamination, and who is within and outside everything? Viewing the situation, the all-powerful Supreme Lord decided to bestow his mercy upon Yashoda. Even though Mother Yashoda eagerly desired to tie up Krishna, she met no success despite her total exhaustion. The endeavor of a devotee to bind the Lord can only be successful with the Lord's sanction. All of Yashoda's work now bore fruit because Krishna, out of compassion for her, suddenly allowed himself to be bound. Extending his mercy, he saved his beloved mother from further anger and frustration. Yashoda asked the assembled cowherd boys to watch Krishna to prevent him from untying himself and running away. Then Yashoda and the elderly gopis entered her private chambers. The moment Yashoda left, Krishna stopped crying, and his face assumed a peaceful and effulgent glow like the luminous moonshine. Krishna thought how to use his present bondage to fulfill a prophecy of Narada Muni. Previously, Narada had cursed two intoxicated and indecent demigods named Nalakuvera and Manigriva to become trees. Deciding to bestow his mercy upon them, Krishna dragged the grinding mortar tied to his belly along the ground toward those two trees. Krishna's playmates cheerfully followed him. From a distance, Krishna saw the two trees connected at the root. Similarly, a student will understand that Prakriti and Purusha originate from one source. As Karma Kanda and Adiranjana Kanda are separate paths, the two trees had different trunks. The Sama and Yajur Vedas have various divisions, and similarly, the two trees had many branches. As a great king has the qualities of valor and achievement, as a mountain range possesses steadiness, and as a cluster of clouds is laden with showers, similarly, these two trees displayed an abundance of natural opulence. The demigods embodied in the two trees had become purified by suffering many years in that way, just as clouds abound in the rainy season and as water becomes clear and pure in autumn. As the universe is vast and broad, these trees stood stout and strong. Known as a pair of Arjuna trees, they reminded everyone of the great heroes, Arjuna and Kartavira Arjuna. Like Nakula and Sahadev, these two trees were also twins. Seeing Krishna moving towards the huge trees, his friend said, "Perhaps Krishna cannot tolerate the scorching sunshine, so he is seeking shelter under those shady trees." While his friend spoke thus, Krishna pulled the mortar over, and it got caught between the two trees. He who annihilates all pretenders appeared splendid with his curly hair hanging loosely over his shoulders. Though Krishna's body is pure and spotless, His character is colored with wonderful colors or rasa. With a slight jerk of the mortar, Krishna easily uprooted those huge trees in a moment. A loud cracking sound filled the air when the trees split open. As a person pokes a hole in a clay pot, that unique vibration, which conquered all other sounds, raced through the sky to puncture a hole in the coverings of the universe. The sound exactly resembled the terrible noise produced by the fierce thunderbolts crashing at the time of devastation. Krishna remained calm and joyful amidst the tremendous tumult. Krishna is eternally free, but he appeared to be bound to a grinding mortar. His character is eternally pure, but it was stained by his pastimes of stealing. Although he can liberate anyone trapped in material existence, he was bound by the loving affection of his mother. At that time, two effulgent persons emerged from the trees. Delivered from their curse, the two demigods offered prayers to Krishna. O embodiment of eternity and boundless bliss, you appear more attractive than a cluster of soft, beautiful, dark blue rain clouds. All glories to you. All glories to you. No one can understand the mysteries of your transcendental pastimes. You have appeared on earth just to enact your splendid spiritual sports. Along with your appearance came many mighty demons eager to fight with you. However, you always exhibited greater power and easily defeated them in an artistic fashion. Even though just a tender boy, you have personally uprooted these two massive Arjuna trees. You are definitely one without a second. You pour mercy upon everyone and bestow abundant affection to the fallen. As a common man enjoys different playful sports, you relish wonderful varieties of rasa in all your pleasantly artistic transcendental pastimes. Truly you are the embodiment of auspiciousness, appearing in Vrindavan to benedict all the Brajabasis. The moon, lord of stars, becomes totally afflicted upon seeing the beautiful radiance of your moon-like face. The natural glow of your attractive lips surpasses the reddish color of a bimba fruit. You delight learned sages by cutting the dense vines of ignorance with the axe of your mercy. Human intelligence cannot penetrate the fathomless ocean of your transcendental pastimes, but one can attain your lotus feet by following pure devotees. The words of the lotus-born Brahma, the blue-throated Mahadev, and other demigods are always ornamented with descriptions of your transcendental qualities. While your effulgence alone displays complete and unlimited power, you personally perform various playful pastimes. Strands of jeweled necklaces adorn your broad chest. Your face derides the purity of land lotuses. Although you appear in specific forms in all four yugas, you have as many unlimited names and forms as there are stars in the sky. As the white incarnation, your glorious deeds were pure and faultless. O Lord of the three worlds, you quickly satisfy the desires of all materialistic people who proudly proclaim, "This is mine." O Master, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. In this whole creation, who can compare with you? You are one without a second. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not bewildered by your illusory energy? O Enchanter of all minds, you astonish everyone with your matchless ability to do the impossible. O Bliss Personified, O darling son of Nanda Maharaj, as the crest jewel among all the immortals who wander through the pleasure groves of Vrindavan, you perform super excellent pastimes. Though using the choicest Sanskrit shlokas, the best of sages fail to properly praise you. You exist simultaneously as formless bliss and bliss personified. In either gross or subtle forms, you alone exist everywhere. You exhilarate both your humble servants and the realized souls. The incessant stream of consciousness flowing from your lotus feet looks like a form of the nectarian Mandakini celestial Ganges. Please shelter us under your splendidly sweet lotus feet and destroy all attachments preventing this. O friend of the distressed, we have no desire other than the desire to touch the pollen dust on your lotus feet. Narada's curse turned into our greatest boon. Association with sadhus who intensely yearn for your service, therefore, always gives good results. May our words perpetually glorify you. May our minds be forever fixed on your lotus feet. May our ears be constantly absorbed in hearing your teachings. What more can we say? Now that all of our senses are engaged in pleasing you, we can relish the nectar of your loving service. Narada Muni, that saintly honeybee who always drinks the nectar of your feet, has released rain clouds of mercy upon us by his apparent curse. You, who display your attractive pastimes in thousands of universes, have kindly allowed such fallen souls as us to see them. O Lord, who can describe the immense fortune of your mother who bound you to this mortar? What more can we say? Even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, and all the exalted sages in the universe do not possess even a fraction of a grain of the good fortune of Mother Yashoda. O Omnipotent One, even the greatest Jnanis, Vedantists, and Yogis cannot understand you, but you quickly avail yourself to Prema Bhaktas, intent on hearing your transcendental pastimes as Nandanandana. O Lord, we want to become completely attached to your lotus feet. We beg you to please reveal within our hearts the right prayer to do this. Alas, show us how to live righteously by accepting the results of our good and bad karma. Praying thus, the demigods proceeded northward and disappeared. Then, the twin Arjuna trees crashed to the ground. Their falling created such a terrible sound that it deafened the village ladies as well as the 4 elephants controlling the 4 directions of the heavenly planets. All the Brajavasis felt fearful. The sweet taste of bliss that Brajeshri, Yashoda, and the Brajavasis had previously relished now suddenly disappeared. Becoming bewildered and fearing another calamity, they stormed out of their houses and rushed to that place. When they saw the huge fallen trees, they thought that perhaps Mother Earth offered dandavats to Krishna Kumar with the arms of these tree trunks. The split-open trees looked like the gaping mouth of the lower planetary system. Its 2 branches appeared like 2 huge snakes rising up and desiring to go in different directions. The 2 trees seemed like the dead bodies of the demons Madhu and Kaitaba thrown on the ground by the Lord himself. When the Brajavasis found Krishna, he appeared calm, fearless, and free from danger. Though only a child, Krishna looked like a priceless jewel ornamenting Mother Earth and assuring her of protection by his very presence. At that time, the Brajavasis thought, "Oh, what is this? How have these huge Arjuna trees suddenly fallen without being pushed down by the wind? In a second, they could have crushed and killed Krishna. But Krishna just stands peacefully between them, looking as fresh as a newly formed rain cloud. It is our good fortune that nothing has happened to him." For a long time, these 2 trees have stood there troubling others. Now, due to old age, their roots have become rotten, and they toppled over from the weight of their leaves and branches. But upon closer examination, we see that this is not the reason, because the roots, branches, and leaves are all fresh and hard. In various ways, the Brajavasis tried to evaluate the situation. While deeply drinking the pure nectar of Krishna's wonderful pastimes, Nanda Maharaj's face beamed with transcendental delight. The mind of Krishna also danced in jubilation over his recent exploit. Brajaraja Nanda untied Krishna from the mortar and placed him on his lap. Then, the expert and learned Nanda scolded his wife, "Nandarani, you have made a big mistake." But suddenly, Nanda Maharaj remembered Gargamuni's prophecy that Krishna equals Narayan and that all the scriptures proclaim his transcendental qualities. Thinking thus, Nanda concluded that no one but his son could have done this amazing feat. The friends of Krishna said, "Hey, look what Krishna has done. Our spotless hero has done something impossible. Afraid of his mother, Krishna dragged the mortar over here. Then it got stuck between the two trees, and Krishna uprooted them. None of the assembled Brajavasis believed the words of the innocent children. Taking auspicious articles such as rice, arghya, and durva grass, Nanda Maharaj worshipped Krishna, who is the source and bestower of all benedictions and who surpasses Narayan in good qualities. Afterwards, Nanda brought Krishna back home to the accompaniment of musicians playing drums and cymbals. Bartering for fruits. One day, a fruit vendor, well versed in moral laws, stood outside Nanda's gate trying to sell fruits. Hearing her calling for customers, Krishna came out to see. The fruit vendor was enchanted by seeing the two pink lotuses of Krishna's feet. In the cup of his small lotus hands, Krishna brought some food grains to trade for fruits. By the time Krishna reached the fruit vendor, however, most of the grains had already slipped out of his hands. The melodious jingling of Krishna's golden ankle bells captivated the ears of the fruit vendor. She absorbed her eyes in the full experience of seeing Krishna, the personified stream of bliss, who was more enchanting than a beautiful rain cloud. Absorbed in the bliss of Krishna's association, that pious woman filled her palms with fruits and gladly offered them to Krishna. At that moment, the fruit remaining in her basket magically transformed into costly gems and jewels. Lunch at home. One day, Krishna, Balaram, and the cowherd boys wandered into the forest and started playing. Krishna looked as beautiful as a freshly formed rain cloud. They spent many hours in fun sports and games. Desiring to see their beautiful forms and pastimes, Yashoda sent Rohini to bring Krishna and Balaram back home. Rohini Devi, the reservoir of unlimited piety and qualities, ran out of the house to perform this task. Seeing the boys from a distance, she called out, "Have you forgotten to come home due to your absorption in playing? You are perspiring profusely and must be famished from so much playing. Now stop playing and come along with your enchanting elder brother and friends. Take your bath, dress properly, and satisfy Mother Yashoda by sitting down and eating sumptuously." Krishna, however, ignored Rohini's request and kept enjoying with his friends. Feeling frustrated, Mother Rohini returned home. Then Yashoda ran to call the boys. "Hey, listen, Baladev. King Nanda is starving and will not eat until you return. Now hurry along." Yashoda then addressed Krishna. "Oh, my darling son, today is your birthday, so you will be bathed with auspicious articles. You will receive the blessings of the Brahmanas, who are the veritable demigods of this world. Your father had brought opulent clothes for you. Now come home and take your meal with your father and all the assembled brahmanas." Saying this, Mother Yashoda, who walks as majestically as a royal elephant, caught Krishna's lotus hand and said, "Come along, let us go home." Keeping Balaram in front, Yashoda led Krishna and the boys back home. Yashoda cannot tolerate that Krishna joyfully plays all day without stopping to eat. Like all mothers who dearly love their children, Yashoda stopped them playing so that they could eat their meal. Yashoda ordered her maidservants to bring massage oils, bathing powder, clothes, ornaments, and garlands. Taking a soft, damp cloth, Yashoda cleansed Krishna by removing all the dust from his body, which resembled a fully blossomed blue lotus. Yashoda massaged him with oil, bathed, and dressed him. After anointing his transcendental body with fragrant oil, Yashoda brought Krishna before Nanda Maharaj. Nanda happily picked up his boys, who responded with sweet smiles, and then sat down to take his meal along with Krishna and Balaram. Yashoda's servants also bathed and dressed all of Krishna's friends. After feeding everyone, Yashoda instructed Krishna's playmates before sending them home. She said, "From now on, do not keep playing with my restless son when it is time for his eating. At that time, you should stop and quickly return to your homes." Out of love for his friends, Krishna walked with them for a short way before bidding them farewell.
Devam moksham na mokshapadim va na janyam rene ambhavaresharapiva idam deva purnata gopalavala sarave manasya virastam.
Moving to Vrindavan. One day, Krishna personally entered the hearts of the village leaders and inspired them. Upananda, Sunanda, and other senior men convened a town meeting to discuss the future of Vrindavan. With warm hearts, the people spoke to Brajaraj Nanda, "O King of Braja, we cannot understand the extent of your opulence. We have never seen a more fortunate person than you. You are the greatest among men. Your son delivers everyone from distress and lamentation. Since the time of his appearance, many seemingly sad and painful things have happened here in Vrindavan. Just after Krishna's birth, the Rakshasi Putana brought devastation to our village. Then the Shakatasura demon brought us severe distress. Then came that horrible hurricane wind demon Trinabarta, who tortured everyone. And the falling Arjuna trees almost destroyed us. We want to know the cause of all these bizarre events. Everyone experienced good fortune with Krishna's birth, and we personally know that your family dynasty is also completely auspicious. So by the accumulation of your good deeds, a plenary expansion of the Lord appeared as your very own son. We can only guess, therefore, that this place causes these difficulties, and not your illustrious son. Considering these facts, we conclude that the next year we should leave this place and move to the forest of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is full of good qualities and always pleasing for all the seasons of the year. It is replete with luxuriant grasses to please the cows. Not only that, but it is said that for one who attains Vrindavan, the wealth of the three worlds seems as insignificant as a piece of straw. The goddess of fortune eternally resides there, personally serving all the residents. Govardhan Hill, which always increases the health of the cows, also stands there. O learned one, if you approve this proposal, then please satisfy us by taking us to Vrindavan." Then the king, whose consciousness is totally pure, replied to the Gopas, "You should understand that I am personally very attached to this Brahadvana, Mahavana. But if you find defects here, then for your sake, I think we should give up this place and immediately move to Vrindavan." This suggestion filled everyone's heart with joy. In great excitement, they ordered their families to prepare the bullock carts for the journey. The groups of carts, fully loaded with village folk and their paraphernalia, looked very beautiful. Keeping the cows in front, they lined up the carts in preparation to leave. As mature bull elephants can have 4 tusks, the bullocks had different numbers of teeth depending on their ages. The youngest bullocks had 4 teeth, whereas the elder bullocks had up to 9. The bullocks had gold-plated horns shining like the peaks of Mount Sumeru. The rounded and nicely shaped jawbones of the bullocks looked attractive. As a music teacher dances with dexterous steps, the bullocks moved gracefully on their splendid hooves. As there are 4 parts to a poem, similarly, these bullocks had 4 legs. Nanda Maharaj had 900,000 white cows in his herd. The restless natures of the bullocks indicated the depth of their intelligence. Though yoked to the carts, they were not tied through their noses. Attractive necklaces of sweet-sounding bells hung from their necks. Multicolored canopies topped the carts. These canopies had many designs and colors like green, brick red, yellow, white, red, and pale yellow. Colorful curtains made of costly jute covered the sides. Flags fluttered above the golden domes atop the carts. The flags looked like wonderfully designed tongues extending to taste the rays of the sun. The splendidly decorated carts mocked the flower airplanes of the demigods. Indeed, these bullock carts established a new standard of excellence amongst conveyances. Just as there is no fault in being attached to sadhus, the carts were faultless in construction and beautiful to behold. As devotees become beautiful by engaging in Krishna's service, the chakras above the carts looked as beautiful as chakravaka birds floating in a lake. As the sons of Kuvera are attached to residing in his capital city of Alakapuri, similarly, the wood yokes were attached to the carts. The carts held many gorgeous pots made of gold, silver, brass, bell metal, and copper. Extending from Brahadvana, Mahavana to Vrindavan, the long line of cows and bullocks looked like separate branches of
Andar Bhakoti Kamaya Isita Govinda Adi Krishna Amani Asya Satare Priyavi Chidanti Pasyanti Bhanti Kayanti Iranti Anada Sadu Galavidasya Govinda Adi Buddha Shanti Bhajan Jai Jagannath, Jai Krishna Krishna
But I'm still waiting for you about the mantra for offering on Saturday. I used to forget each time I'm offering. I remember I'll ask you again, then I forget. So I just have to come and remind you because the devotees also, the Lagos devotees also want to get it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna, Shiva.
Delicious. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you. We will celebrate tomorrow, not today. Of course, we celebrate 2 days. Today and tomorrow.
Yes, Gurudev, today and tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Gurudev.
You have a wonderful day. Enjoy your prasadam, and we'll meet at Diwali lecture, Diwali celebration.
Okay.
And our brother Suni is also waiting the delicious. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shiva Gurudev, Dhanapranam, congratulations for your humble obeisances.
Please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank you all very much.